And if it's a consequence the dog doesn't like, then we might say that that consequence was a punishing consequence.
Okay.
If it's a consequence the dog doesn't like, then either then we would say that it was reinforced or it was rewarded. Yes. So and you can help him know, yes, when he's doing the right thing.
I love this person. How else you know this give me food?
Yes, by marking that behavior and telling him you just earned that reward. So it can buy you a little bit of time. Yes, because you're using the treats too to tell him that was the right thing, right? Treats and praise both tell him you just did the right thing.
Now, one question I have is, a couple of times, like he'll bark, and we don't want him to bark, you know.
Yeah, and
that's
that's
the tricky thing. Yeah.
Yes. And so waiting. So yeah.
Yeah.
A couple instances of less than perfect timing on my part.
No, that's okay. I just wanted to ask because we went to the Christmas and we went through the puppy tree.
And, yeah. So these are all, yes, everything that I'm seeing with him is what I would call demand behaviors, right?
Yeah.
The jumping, the barking. Does he do any mouthing too?
Oh yeah, he's very mouthy and
All
biting.
of
Like I
those-
said in the videos, he literally lunges at the boys and bites their areas here, bites their feet all the time.
So those with him in that video that you sent me, I would call that biting demand behaviors here.
Okay.
So
And Jose, and I'll say, we'll often have these standoffs where they'll just, Jose will stand there and then the dog will just bark, you know. And
yes. So yes. So with these demand behaviors, so think of it like this. So for 6 months, he has been putting his money in this vending machine. He has been barking, biting, and jumping to tell you guys he wants that candy bar, and it's been working for him, right? Dogs don't care what kind of attention they get. They don't care if it's what we consider good attention or bad attention. Any attention to a dog is good attention. So even if you guys are saying no, down, off, stop, shush,
Yeah.
you're talking to him, you might be touching him if you're pushing him off, and you're definitely making eye contact with him, right? And all of those things to a dog are eye contact. That's why he's doing our attention. That's why he's doing it in the first place. He's doing it to get that attention. So even though, and that was what I meant when I said that you guys might be accidentally reinforcing it. You guys might be accidentally rewarding these demand behaviors with exactly what he wants. What he wants is that attention, and he's getting it. So for 6 months, he has been barking, jumping, biting to get some kind of attention from you guys, and it's been working really, really, really well. And what you guys have probably seen is that when you came to Ahimsa and Wayne told you guys you have to ignore it, you guys probably saw that as soon as you ignored it, he jumped harder, he bit harder, he barked louder, right? If you think about it, what do we do if we put our money in the vending machine and we push that button and nothing comes out? Exactly. And that's what he's doing. He is, we call that an extinction burst. It's a short-lived increase in the behavior. It often is accompanied by quite a bit of frustration from him. He doesn't understand why this isn't working anymore. And he thinks maybe if I just try harder, I can get that attention that I want. When you get to that point with a dog, it's an indication that you're on the right track. It's working, but before that behavior extinguishes completely, he's going to try harder first to see if I just try harder. Will it work the same way it used to? So I want that marker in there, the yes, to tell him, yes, you're on the right track. Don't worry, this is working. Yes, this is a better way to get what you want. Yes, to prevent him from getting so frustrated. But you guys also will have to be really, really, really strong and consistent through this, because the way to make those demand behaviors really and truly go away is by consistently ignoring them. Yes, that means everybody in the house is on board, and that means everybody in the house, yes, everybody doesn't.
I know exactly. This is for you, Alessandro.
Yes. So remember too what a dog considers attention. Your voice, they don't understand English. Your touch to them, pushing on them is play,
Yeah,
right? That's how
yeah.
dogs play. Dogs play by body slamming. And eye contact
Yeah.
is inviting them
Yeah.
for more interaction. That was him. So when he jumped up on me, what did I do? I looked away from him.
Mhm.
That is a really clear signal to a dog. That's a really clear no, thank you.
Mm.
And that is why a lot of the trainers at HIMSA, and he did it again. Nice work, buddy. Yes. A lot of the trainers at HIMSA will say if a dog jumps up on you, they'll turn away from the dog. Some trainers are very overt about it, and some of them will turn.
Yeah,
their
like we've
backs.
been trying to do this. whole
Yeah,
thing,
and you know, yes, I think Wynonna says turn your back. Sometimes I'll turn my back. Another one of our trainers doesn't turn her back because that sometimes causes dogs to jump on your back. And she's a little person and she gets knocked over.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
Yes.
Good point.
I at least will turn my head away.
Yeah.
For a couple of reasons. Number one, because if I turn my head away, I'm not making eye contact with them. And eye contact is the hardest one for me to remember. It's hard for me to remember to break off my eye contact. So I turn my head away, but it also sends a really clear signal to dogs. Dogs communicate in body language primarily, and they communicate with other dogs and with other animals using what we refer to as calming signals. It's some kind of a body language signal that says, please calm down. And turning your head is one of those calming signals that dogs seem to recognize. Turning your head, averting your eyes seems to convey to them pretty clearly, no, thank you, please calm down. And you saw every time he jumped up on me when I turned my head away, he very quickly backed down on his own. So that's a language he does understand. He doesn't need you to translate for him. So remembering that, nice work, sweetheart. Good job. Remembering.
So Sandra, our teenager, will wake up and literally the dog will just start
going nuts
with him. And then he'll lay over here on the couch and the dog will just like, instead of Luca, the dog will just nip at them, you know, and
so yeah, there probably is a little bit of
when we're in reclined mode, do we get up? Like, how do we deal with?
So
you know?
So there's probably a little bit of a reinforcement history there, where again he's got experience with that vending machine that you represent, right?
Remember how you pick him up and you wrestle with him? He thinks you're playing.
Right, exactly. So it's easy for me to come in because I've got a clean slate, and so I can come in and just really kind of set the scene for him. This is how we interact. You lie down calmly on the floor and I give you tiny whereas you guys have a different history together. You guys have a more excited, rambunctious history together. So if you remember, find it that he's doing it.
You love find it. You love it, don't you?
He's doing it because he wants to play and he thinks that this is an appropriate way to get you to play with him. And for a puppy, it is, right? Puppies initiate play with other puppies, find it. By biting them, by jumping on them, maybe body slamming them a little bit, maybe barking at them. And so you guys probably have a relationship that's similar to siblings, right? He thinks that you guys are good playmates.
Exactly what I said.
And he is trying to entice you to play with him the only way that he knows to entice you to play with him. So, so we talk about two things here. We talk about number one, how do you make the behavior go away? The way to make the behavior go away, find it, is to really and truly consistently ignore it. However,
which is hard when he's biting because
it is hard.
Bites.
So we'll talk.
Kind of hard,
We'll talk more about that. But the other thing is, you want to teach him how does he get your attention, and that's really where you want to spend most of your time. And that's also where that marker word will come in handy because you can tell him then when he is on the right path, when he is doing it the right way. But we'll get back to that. So let's talk a little bit more about what you do in the moment when he's hurting you guys, when he is shaking that.
That's a great analogy.
So. Again, you have to stay strong. Usually those extinction bursts where he's shaking the vending machine, usually it only lasts a few seconds. It's normal, it's expected, but you guys do have to stay strong through it. Nice work. Yes. Expect it to last at least 5 or 10 seconds. In those 5 or 10 seconds, sometimes if it's really persistent, if I am having a hard time just turning away from him, if that's not effective enough, if he's hurting me, I remove myself from him. And that's why I love that you have these baby gates set up. This is the stage where I might step behind whatever door is available to me. I might step into the bathroom. I might step into the hall closet, close the door behind me. The reason, so I call that giving myself a timeout. I'm giving myself a timeout so that he doesn't hurt me. And also so that I can get my own, emotions under control because I'm likely getting
get
frustrated.
mad,
right, exactly. And that's, at best, going to be confusing to him. At worst, he's gonna think, now we're really playing. So it's not productive to get angry at him or to yell at him or to raise my voice. So giving myself a timeout keeps me safe, helps me get a hold of my own emotions. But the other thing is, he's gonna be a big guy. He's already a big guy. And I don't want you guys falling into this trap where you feel like it is your responsibility to physically control him. That's a good way to get hurt.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
want him instead to learn his behaviors have consequences.
Yeah.
If he jumps on you guys, you leave. You guys are his favorite people in the universe. That sends a really profound message to him. If you jump on me, I'm gonna take my toys and go home. I'm gonna, you're the bully in the sandbox right now. And I don't play with bullies. And so if you're behaving like a bully, I'm going to leave. That for him will be much, much, much more powerful than if you guys put him in a timeout in this crate, right? Because dogs don't understand that. They think, well, we were playing, everything was going great. Now I'm in my crate. What did I do wrong? They don't understand that. Whereas he does understand, well, I thought we were playing, but then they left. I guess they didn't like the way I was playing. So that will teach him to control his own behavior and his own emotions much more effectively. So if he, nice work, sweetheart. If he is jumping up on you guys, if he is fighting you guys, try to go still, because motion too is games to dogs. So if he's, biting on your counter or something,
Right.
If you guys are sitting on the sofa, I might stand up. If you guys are walking around, stop. So try to be still. Try to send that very clear body language to him. I'm not playing. This isn't fun for me. So break off your eye contact. Don't say anything to him. Don't touch him. If he does persist, just step on the other side of a baby gate, step behind the door. And it doesn't have to last long because that extinction burst doesn't last long. You guys just have to wait. Yes.
Although he does tend to, jump in here, guys, if you feel like you've tried some of these things and they don't work. But I know, we talked to Winona our last session about this, and her advice was when you see them coming, and that's the problem, it's just distract them right away.
And that's what I did here when I came in.
Yeah.
So I'm using a lot of different strategies here.
Yeah.
So that is the prevention, right? And we'll talk more about that next. Do you guys feel like you guys all have you guys understand what to do if he is in the moment jumping up on you guys, biting you guys?
I think so. I think the problem is I feel like we've tried some of that stuff and he still bites.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And because we have to be really, really, really consistent.
Yeah.
Because otherwise what he's learning is I have to be more persistent.
Because he doesn't do it with me hardly ever.
Yeah.
And he does it with Alessandro, and he does it with him the most.
Yeah.
And with Jose, it's more like they have these
Standoffs.
Standoffs.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
dogs do what works. And he doesn't do this with you because it doesn't work with you, right? With you guys, he thinks you guys are playing with him. He doesn't understand that you guys are getting annoyed with him, and when you guys do get annoyed with him, he's really confused probably, and his feelings are probably pretty hurt because he has no idea how it went from this really fun game to now you guys are mad at him. And it won't be effective until everybody's on the same page with it.
Did you hear that, Alessandro?
It doesn't have to last long. If he does, you guys saw, it works. If you guys remain strong through it, if you guys do have to step into the other room or behind a closed door, you don't have to be gone for longer than 5 or 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So,
sorry to interrupt, but so you're feeding him though, right now, and
Yep.
are we supposed to be constantly feeding him then this, or?
When dogs are learning new things, and we are asking him to learn something new here, right? We're asking him to learn a new habit.
Yeah.
I do use food because food is convenient for me. Food is a very, very, very clear communicator to dogs. Food works really well for me because I'm a stranger. I don't have the relationship with them that you guys have. You guys can absolutely use other reinforcers for him as long as he considers those rewards. And every dog is different and their moods change. Maybe sometimes he considers toy play an incredible reward. And other times he doesn't want to play with toys.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes praise.
He's all about food.
So food is easy for us, right? right?
Yeah.
It's easy for us to keep a handful of treats around. Dogs learn really quickly with food. It's not a lifetime sentence. This is to help him figure this out. And then we can start weaning him off it after he has learned some new skills. But it is a really effective way to help him learn some new skills. It's easy for you guys. And I use dog food, right? I've got some high value stuff in here, some little tiny pieces of cheese and a Hinds Louise chicken. Because we're in an incredibly distracting environment. I'm a stranger. You guys could probably get away with using dog food 99% of the time here at home. So what I do when I am kind of starting this training program for a dog, I stop giving him his meals and his bowls. Good gosh, sweetheart. And rather than giving him his meals, you know, here's breakfast, here's dinner, I measure out all of his kibble first thing in the morning. This is how much food you're going to get today. Rather than giving it to him as a meal, I use every single piece of dog food as a training opportunity throughout the day. He's going to get that food anyhow. You might as well use it to your advantage for training, especially if he's a food hound. If he likes to work for kibble, why wouldn't you use his kibble to your advantage?
Or at least like maybe half his food and use the rest of it for,
Yeah,
because we're in such a routine now with the breakfast
yeah,
and
yeah. He
stuff.
might
I
use his
think he
little
might,
funny lines.
yeah.
So, and what I usually do is, I usually measure out his breakfast first, and I'll keep it until about 10 a.m. And so whatever I use before 10 a.m., great. Anything that's left over, he gets for breakfast at 10 a.m. And then I do the same thing at dinner. I measure out his dinner. Whatever's left at 5 p.m., he gets for dinner. And then you can also, you can start adding fillers to his food too. Like you can add just like some plain cooked rice or something like that if he feels like he's starving to death. But I do, I keep kibble kind of around the house so that it's always within reach, so that you guys don't have to
We
walk
have
around.
treats. We have like little 3-calorie treats.
Yeah, and you guys
I can't believe there's not one out here.
Yeah, so doorways, entryways, thresholds are often trigger points for dogs. Often when a person comes through a doorway, that's when they kind of lose their minds. And so I usually keep
Well,
little,
that's a good idea.
I
we
keep
usually have one
stashes
here.
near doorways so that as soon as I come in through the doorway, I can grab some.
Oh, Beach, you having fun?
And, if he does really like food, you can get really creative so that you guys aren't just feeding him empty calories. So his tummy doesn't get upset. I know a lot of folks who give their dogs Cheerios, right?
Oh, yeah.
Cheerios are low fat.
Oh, that's fun.
Inexpensive, and a dog like him would probably be
He
happy to
would
work
go
with.
mental over Cheerios, I think.
Yeah, exactly. It's people food against people food. I know some people who give their dogs carrots or broccoli or sweet potatoes, so it doesn't have to be these really rich treats. But I think it does make it a lot easier for you guys. Food is an excellent communicator to dogs. It tells them really, really, really clearly, I'm doing something right. And again, it doesn't have to be for life. It's until we think with people, it takes us about 6 weeks to learn a new habit. So I assume the same for dogs. I assume it's going to take them 6 weeks to learn a new habit. And even in the, however long I've been here, he's already offering some really, really polite, nice behaviors. He's a smart guy. He's just been doing what works, and what works has been so far being pushy and demanding. And so if we just teach him that it works even better if you're polite. So let's talk a little bit about that now. Let's talk about the other side of it. So we want to spend as little time as possible getting into that extinction burst run. Number one, for your guys' sake, but also to prevent him from getting so frustrated. You want to spend most of your time, you want to spend most of your time, yes, nice work. You want to spend most of your time teaching him what's the right thing to do rather than waiting for him to make a mistake and then, oh geez, how do we deal with this? You want to spend most of your time teaching him what's the right way to get things that you want. And I do, you can think of it as a distraction. When I am greeting him, when I'm coming through that doorway, when I know it's going to be really, really hard for him to make a mistake first thing in the morning, when you guys come to see him first thing in the morning. Dogs are most active at dawn and dusk. So first thing in the morning and right around this time of night is usually when they get the zoomies. It's when they get really, really, really energetic and wiggly. And so knowing, okay, he's very likely to be very excited. And just coming in, and before he ever jumps up in the first place, come in with a handful of his breakfast and give him a find it as you're coming into the room. So before he ever even jumps up on you, you're teaching him What do I do when I'm excited? Head down, 4 on the floor is what I do when I'm excited. And you can start then to, oh, that was nice. Let's wait a second. Can you touch? No, I don't know that one. Get over here. No, you're looking for treats. Find it.
You finding it?
It's almost like dogs have muscle memory. And so if you think, am I distracting them with treats? Sure, yeah, find it. But I'm also rewarding, find it, 4 on the floor. And I am teaching him through that muscle memory, find it. The thing to do when you come up to a person is to keep your, find it, head down, 4 on the floor. So again, we're building, nice word, find it, building these new habits for him. Building a habit of, find it, lower arousal when
Would
he
you find
when he
it?
sees an
Let us
excited
know.
person. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah, he's actually pretty mellow in the morning.
Oh,
He doesn't get spazzy until, well, it probably kicks in around like lunchtime and then it goes until 8 o'clock.
And then it's all
I
day.
think I don't see it that early. I usually see it right around lunchtime. And he eats and he's pretty good.
Then he naps some more.
And then now is the witching hour.
Yeah, now is the witching hour. Nice work, sweetheart. And that's nice that he lets you guys have the mornings off, it sounds like. But
Yeah.
not so much with you. Does he get excited with you first thing in the morning?
Yeah, usually he doesn't get, he just kind of nips. He usually doesn't get as crazy as he is around now, but
Yeah.
he does lighten it.
Okay. So I would say, so for the biting too, and the jumping's pretty easy, because the jumping I do often find it tree scatter. There's a few up here, but it works for biting as well. The tree scatter will work for biting as well, but it's not quite as effective for biting. For biting, I probably want to have you practice some teaching him to tolerate exciting activity from you. Building his endurance for
Do you need some water?
maintaining his composure when things are exciting. And the way that we can do this, so I'm going to use that verbal marker, yes, again, to tell him when he's doing the right thing. And I'm going to have you practice this too, because I think it sounds like you're probably the hardest one for him to remain calm around. So what I'm going to start doing is just being a little bit exciting, and I'm going to mark and treat before he loses his cool. So before he jumps, before he gets overexcited, I'm going to mark and teach him the right thing to do when things get exciting is to maintain your composure. Yes. So motion obviously is exciting for him. As soon as I stood up,
Mhm.
he jumped and he barked, right?
And he's gonna
Yes.
go for your shoes pretty soon, it
So
looks like.
just walking around, yes. Walking slowly is probably enough. Yes. For him, this is enough.
We've tried that, and he definitely like keeps nipping at his heels and his shoes
Yes.
when he's walking slow,
So when he does jump up, yes, if you guys, because you mentioned, you want to make sure you don't give him a treat for at least 3 seconds.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. So build in at least a 3-second pause so that we aren't accidentally reinforcing that jump. So give him a 3-second pause before you do give him a treat. Yes. So even just moving around a little bit, yes, is pretty hard for him. So I'm going to try just walking in place and see if we can be successful. Yes. So starting as small as he needs, yes, to keep him successful. Walking around, yes, was too much. So we go to, yes, just standing in place and moving my feet, and he can now be successful. So I'll try walking, yes, but starting really, really, really small. I'm not trying to push him to failure. I'm trying to teach him, yes, the way to win this game, yes, is by keeping 4 feet on the floor, not fighting for my shoe. Pushed a little far. Sorry. Yes. 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 And the more you guys use that marker word too, the more he'll understand that it means he's about to earn a treat. Yes. 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 Nice work, buddy. So normally what I do, normally I start out just by moving a little bit, and then I progress to more and more and more exciting things. Like I might lean over a dog, yes. I might wave my hands. He's not ready for that with me.
Yeah.
And I might
Me
start
too.
talking to them in an excited voice too. I might start, oh, what a cute puppy, he's so cute, he's so cute. The idea is I am ramping up my excitement level and I am rewarding him for remaining home when I am getting excited. Do you want to try that? Do you have some
Alright.
treats handy? So I want you to use that verbal marker, yes. And I want you to say it anytime he has 4 feet on the floor and he's not biting you.
I'm gonna get the little, I'll get you the treat pouch.
I know, where's she going?
I can also do it.
I don't know if I do anymore.
You might want to open up it.
You can put the whole. Well,
Should be
okay.
able
There's a lot in here.
There's a lot in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Perfect, lovely. And then can I just walk in place a little over right there?
It's like she's got her
Yes.
treat.
Nice.
Obi.
Right there.
Yes.
Try walking away a little bit. Right there, Mark.
Yes.
And so head down on the floor is actually a really nice behavior from him.
Yes. Obi.
And he's like, she does have those new treats.
I know, she's got better treats.
He's like,
These are-
"I've
these
had
are bland."
bears."
Yeah, like, these are like oyster crackers.
You've got some lamb on, so let me-
Like, I don't want the oyster crackers, I want the Ritz crackers.
I can give you a handful of these too. I know, huh? If you open up your hands, when you get to do something.
Okay.
Here you go.
Oh, everyone's got treats now, no.
Obi.
Mark right there.
Yes.
And let her know that you've got those good treats. Nice.
Oh.
I know.
Obi, everybody's got the good treats now.
Obi. Yes.
So we're dancing in place a little bit. Mark right there.
Yes.
Nice work. You can check those out too.
I did.
Nice. Beautiful.
Where'd you find it? Find it, Obi. Find it.
Fine.
Find it.
Let's try it again.
Yes.
Nice timing.
Yes.
Nice work. Just as he was approaching, that was perfect. Yeah, good. I would mark right here.
Yes.
Head down, snuffling for treats is a very appropriate behavior to offer when things are getting exciting.
And marsh means give him praise and a treat.
It means say yes.
Okay.
Mark that behavior by saying yes to let him know that was the right thing that you did.
If you said we were using a clicker, that's when we would.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, a verbal marker or a clicker, same thing, those are both marking behavior.
Yes.
Nice work, and you can see he's getting a little bit more excited, his tail's going a little faster.
Yes.
Nice timing there. Try maybe leaning over him a little bit next time he comes in close,
Obi.
Obi,
and be ready to mark really fast.
he's looking for the treats.
Yes. I'm sorry, yes.
He's extremely motivated by food. In fact, yeah, the dinner,
And I'll stand up to help make this a little easier for him, he's got the same treats and he's work.
Oh.
Right there.
Yes.
Nice work.
Okay.
Next time he looks at you, go ahead and mark.
Yes.
Nice, good. I don't need to mark that. We'll wait for him to be quiet and then tell him.
Yes.
Nice, good timing. Good. I would mark-
Yes.
Nice, nice work. Nice work. And then try being really exciting. Try dancing around the place a little bit. Very nice. We'll give him a break. He's getting a little frustrated. He's getting a little confused. Does that make sense to you guys?
Mhm.
Okay, so I practice that little game several times a day. You want some pets? No. Okay.
Hey, buddy.
And I worked my way up, and that little shake up too, that's a little stress release, so that was really hard for him. So those little signs that he was struggling there. So kind of being aware of how hard it is for him
Oh, baby.
to figure out that, you know, how to win these games.
Yeah.
So anytime, anytime you guys do, part of the trouble too is that we spend a lot of time telling dogs when they make mistakes. We spend a lot of time noticing when dogs make mistakes. The reality is Obi spends 99% of his day being a pretty good dog, right? He spends 99% of his time with 4 feet on the floor.
Maybe 85.
Maybe 85%, right? Maybe that was a little.
Let's be real.
But he does spend a
Yeah,
lot
yeah.
of time with 4 feet on the floor, not biting you guys, not barking at you guys.
Yeah.
And so we want to just start noticing that. So anytime during the day when you guys do notice he's doing nothing, he's not barking at me, he's not jumping on me, he's not biting me, that's when I want you guys to use those other rewards for him, especially. If it's, you know, if it's when he's a little bit sleepy, but he happens to just be chilling out on his bed, maybe that's when you guys go over and praise him and pet him and give him an ear massage and tell him what a good boy he is. If it's, you know, if it's at his around lunchtime and he's bouncy and he's wiggly, but he's not jumping on you guys, or he hasn't jumped on you guys yet, that's when you go and get a toy and you do some toy play with him. Or maybe you guys go out in the yard and you guys play a little tag with him. Rewarding him for being polite and being a good dog before he makes mistakes, so that we teach him you don't have to do these annoying, rude behaviors to get attention. We'll notice when you're being good and we'll pay you for being good. We'll praise you, we'll play with you, we'll pet you, we'll give you that attention that you want. You don't have to demand it from us. We'll notice when you're doing the right thing, and we'll reward you for that. Does that make sense too? Okay, good. That's what, sweetheart.
I think the hardest part is sometimes like we're like, oh, you're being so cute right now, but I'm so busy, you know.
Yeah.
And like, that's to me, especially since we're all home and
And for
You know.
him too, you know, I swear, he is a really social guy. And I do believe that a lot of the time, just praising him is probably all he wants,
Yeah.
right? So it doesn't, again, I use treats because it's convenient, because I'm a stranger, because I
Right.
need to get some behaviors pretty fast. He is more than happy to work for you guys for just a little praise, a little attention, right? It doesn't have to be, you know, a 30-minute cuddle session. It can just be telling him he's a good boy, making eye contact with him, smiling at him. Dogs do seem to recognize smiles. So just giving a little bit of that social attention that he's looking for. Just noticing it when he's being good, telling him he's being good, and just kind of teaching him, yep, I see you. I appreciate the way you're behaving right now. That's good, sweetheart. Good. How are we doing on time?
it's 5:35.
Okay, good.
about,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
So that's a little bit about the jumping, the barking, the biting. Do you guys have other questions about those 3 behaviors?
Well, so when Jose is like, he is very physical with the dog and very sweet with him, you know, like he'll get down on the floor and cuddle with him. But sometimes, like I said, it'll then all of a sudden turn into this standoff, you know,
Yeah.
and, you know, like Jose will be in, like on his knees like that, and the dog will just like, bark, 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 you know, and
Lately, I've just been stopping
Yeah.
and walking away. I mean,
Yep, and that's the most clear message you can send to him. Regardless of why he's doing it. So, you know, I'll see it with the puppies sometimes. I'll see that barking like that. Sometimes it's frustration.
mhm.
Sometimes it's demanding, play with me, play with me, play with me.
Lately, it's been demanding because I know that
Yeah.
the last few times he would bark at me, and then I'd turn from him and he'd stop. And then when he's stopped, I'll pick up. Lately, it's been a piece of rawhide.
Uh-huh.
And the minute I pick it up, he's all happy. He's
Yeah.
not barking anymore. And then we'll play. Like I'll toss it clear across the room,
Oh, yeah, okay.
and he'll run back and forth, and we'll play for a while. And that seems to be working pretty well. It's that timing that I've been struggling with. It's like he'll bark at me, and I know what he wants. It's he wants to play.
Yep.
As his tail is wagging
Yep.
and he's putting his paws down.
Oh, that's
You know,
true,
and
yeah.
so the most aggressive piece of it is just the barking.
Yeah, right,
At
yeah,
that
he's got a
point.
big bark, yeah.
And so I'm struggling with, I know he wants to play, I don't want to reinforce the barking.
Yep.
But I know he wants to play.
The only thing you need to do is build in that 3-second delay.
Okay.
He barks, pause 3 seconds.
Okay.
Ignore him for 3 seconds. 5 seconds maybe.
Mhm.
If it gets worse, walk out of the room again for
Okay.
5 seconds at most.
Okay.
That's all you need to do. And then as soon as you come back, reward him before he makes a mistake. So as soon as you come back to the room, you can do a find it on the floor. So let's talk about, because it sounds like maybe he has a little bit of a hard time with an off switch. It sounds like when he gets amped up, maybe he has a little bit of a hard time transitioning to lower states of arousal. Okay. So he wants to play.
Especially
he
when
wants
he's
to play, he
biting,
wants
because
to play.
that's the
Yeah.
part that it comes on so fast and.
So, dogs don't come, out of the factory with an off switch. We do have to teach them how to turn it down. For dogs, licking, sniffing, and chewing have a physiologically calming effect on them. It's like giving a baby a pacifier. It soothes them. So when I am teaching a dog how to relax, how to slow down, how to transition to a lower state of arousal, I am usually looking at something that I can give them to either lick or sniff or chew on. And you've probably seen this with a rawhide. If you can just chew on a rawhide, he probably relaxes, right? He'll probably go and lie down with it. I have been giving him little crumbs on the floor for as long as I've been here, and he's doing a lot of lying down, even though this is the witching hour, right? So I am intentionally dropping treats on the floor, tiny little crumbs, so that he has to do a little bit of sniffing every time he eats a treat. Licking at Ahimsa, we use toys that are like Kongs, and we'll fill them with something that's frozen. We'll fill them with
We're all about the topples since we did
Yeah,
those
topples,
trainings.
amazing.
Yeah, those are
Yeah.
great.
So we do a lot of frozen chicken broth and topples.
Yeah.
We have an instant pot at work, and we boil bone-in chicken in the instant pots, and the broth we get from that is really thick and gelatinous, and you can just pour it like jelly into the topples. And then
Interesting. I was wondering how you avoid it coming out the hole.
yeah, it's so thick. Yeah,
Oh,
it doesn't work with
interesting.
like store-bought chicken.
No,
broth.
it definitely doesn't.
No. You can use the store-bought if you get low sodium. You can just use an ice cube tray and like chicken broth ice cubes, and we'll do those. But the topples are nice because they can also chew on the rubber. But you can also fill those topples with a little bit of pumpkin, a little bit of plain yogurt, a little bit of peanut butter. You can soak his kibble.
Yeah.
In
we've
water.
done
I
a
was
few
gonna say,
things, yeah.
like, we could measure out part of his daily
Yep,
and just put it in water, soak it, stuff it,
exactly,
and
and
then
freeze
just
it.
top it maybe with some peanut butter.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
Yep. And you can find a lot of recipes too. If you guys, Kong has a lot of recipes online. If you guys just search for Kong
So we're
frozen
gonna
recipes.
buy like 4 or 5 of those and just keep them.
Yeah, that's what I,
Yeah.
I keep, I always keep things on hand that I can quickly grab a dog.
Is this big enough for him? Cause I was reading that maybe
That one,
you go one size bigger, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh,
Yeah,
he
Okay,
needs the next
that's what I
size
was
bigger.
reading, like find the
Yeah.
one that you have and get the next size up. Okay.
Yeah, that one looks
That
good.
might be the biggest one though, no?
No,
Or maybe
there's
there's
no-
another
there's
one.
bigger ones.
That
there
one's
are.
a medium, I think.
No,
So there's a
listen,
large.
so we
and
should
there's a
like buy like 4 of them and just have them all.
Well, so the
Stuff them
topple though too, like those, he has a trickier time getting the stuff.
Yeah,
out
and
of
that's why
that.
dogs don't like them as much. They're harder
Yeah.
to get the things out of. Yeah, the topples, they have a wider opening in their
Oh, yeah.
shoulder.
Yeah,
And the topples, come in 2 sizes too.
yeah, we got both of them.
Yeah, so I keep frozen things around all the
yeah.
time. And anytime it's time for him to just relax, I'll give him something that he can still and gnaw on, something he can lick. I do a lot of bones.
Do you do the
rawhides.
frozen bones?
I'm
Frozen
using-
raw bones or whatever?
Yeah, I haven't found a place to get them, but I used to.
My neighbor just was telling me about,
The rolls?
a place in Fremont, it's a pet store.
Oh, nice.
Petapalooza, is that a
Oh,
thing?
yeah, I've heard of Petapalooza. Yeah,
Okay.
I would check it out for sure.
Okay.
I used to be able to get them from my butcher. I'm not from Seattle.
Okay,
There is a butcher up on 83rd. We could check with them. Better Meat Company. and see what they have.
Yeah, I wish I had a butcher.
Mhm.
Oh,
Because I
boy.
love to give my dogs raw meaty bones.
Okay.
As long as they're raw, as long as they're cooked, they're safe.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
And you wanna get them big enough so that they aren't gonna splinter. and
I
break
heard they're
off.
supposed to be like as big as his snout, like.
Yeah, I would say
kinda
that's a
like
good
that,
rule of
yeah.
thumb. Yeah, like I wouldn't give them chicken wings, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
I would give them knuckle bones are good.
Okay.
And some of that stuff you can find them.
Oh, wait, down.
There we go. Nice work, sweetheart.
So you don't say down,
Nope.
like.
Because what are you doing? You're
Reinforcing.
yeah, and the other thing, so there's another reason I don't say anything. Dogs learn English through association. He does the thing, I say the word. He does the thing, I say the word, right? That's how we teach him to come, that's how we teach him to sit. He does the thing, I say the word. If every time he jumps up, you say down, what does down mean? Down means jump up. Yeah, exactly.
That makes sense, because if we say, I mean, he's really good at sit, shake, down, lay down. I mean, he does it like,
Yeah.
on command, so.
Yeah, and that's how they learn words, is through association. They associate the behavior with the word. So if you consistently say down, or down or off or no or whatever you're saying, that word comes to mean that behavior. And it accidentally reinforces it. So this.
What about find it though? So how does that work? You know what I mean? Like, or,
find it doesn't
or
really need a cue. Find it is
Hand going this
yeah,
way.
exactly, yeah.
I'm just
I mean,
trying to
we
think of
put a-
any other command.
We put a
that
cue on there, but it doesn't need a cue. So sometimes the cue is the treat itself. The cue to find it is there's a treat there on the floor.
So he's associated really well. with a
Yeah.
lot of- I mean, even just, he doesn't, I mean, one thing that works amazingly well is he'll sit when we put the bowl down.
Yeah,
He won't go for the
he's a
bowl.
smart guy.
He
Yeah,
picks it up.
He's a smart guy. Yeah.
This one works. I don't know how you feel about
Yeah, we love those too. Yeah,
But
we use those.
this
too.
one has worked for me when he's getting particularly
Yes.
nuts.
Yeah, exactly. I love puzzle feeders. I love
Mhm.
toys like that, those slow release toys. So I've got a few toys like that. I have a few hard toys that my dogs can just gnaw on, or I keep bones, or I see you've got bully sticks around.
Yeah, he's not, I don't know if he's done really well with the softer stuff anymore.
Yeah, and
You know,
a lot
the bully
of
sticks.
puppies kind of outgrow it.
The rawhide, this works
Yeah,
really
I
well.
thought he would get into those wubbas, but that one also is like a puppy wubba,
Yeah,
so that's
yeah,
way too small for him.
yeah. And every dog's got different tastes, and their taste changes too.
This one, it's a shitty ear. He likes the hard, crunchy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna work on it.
Yeah,
stuff.
and that doesn't surprise me. He probably likes the challenge of the harder stuff.
Mhm.
And it's probably pretty satisfying too, to just be able to really go.
But he's
nuts
never
on
had a
stuff.
bone, and he would love a bone.
He would, yeah, and that
He would
buys you
love
guys
a
a lot of time.
Yeah, it does.
So it buys you guys a lot of time to get some work done, where he is over there being good and getting rewarded for it, and
Yeah.
he's just working on his thing. So if I've got it, I'll give him something that he can really chew on. I'll give him something he can lick that'll last me a little while.
Yeah, yeah.
If I don't have something like that handy and I just need a couple of minutes, I'll do find it's just to get him sniffing.
Yeah.
So just getting his nose down. If I'm doing a find it with the intention of lowering his arousal level, I want the find it, I want the sniffing to last at least 20 seconds. So it's an extended snuffle. And you guys might be familiar with snuffle mats as well. Snuffle mats.
Oh,
can-
yeah.
you
Where
can
put the
make
food in
them-
there and stuff.
Yeah,
and
you can make them or you can buy them. They kind of look like a rug like this. They've got a bunch of little fleece strips.
Mhm.
And in fact, I'll use a bath mat or an old kitchen towel that I have kind of wrinkled up and do the find it in there and really
Yeah.
kind of bury the treats. Snuffle mats will buy you a little bit more time because you can see how he has to do a little bit more searching to find the treats in there. So sniffing doesn't last as long. It doesn't give you guys as much time, but it can be really effective. Like if you guys are out for a walk and he sees a squirrel or another dog and he starts to
Mhm.
lose his mind. I do find it's a lot on walks
Yeah.
to really quickly get his arousal down.
Yeah.
So if you guys are next works with her.
He's really interesting on the walks. Sometimes he'll go crazy over a dog. Most of the time he doesn't. It's the squirrels that he
Yeah.
goes mental over and cats.
So I will, anytime he has an episode, anytime he
Mhm.
kind of goes crazy, find it and loses his mind, I'll do an extended find it. I'll do a 20-second find it in grass until I see his tail come to this position.
Yeah.
I want a nice, low, loose tail. I want a loose body. So right now he looks really relaxed. if you guys are seeing a high
Yeah,
waving
yeah.
tail, he's a little too amped up still, and I'll do a find it until I see that tail come down. So I'm watching his body. I'm watching his tail.
Do you know, this is a little off topic, but he pants a lot in the evening. And we're like, I mean, he needs a haircut. And I'm like, maybe he's hot, but we feel
I don't
like
think
it's,
so.
I feel like I've noticed that I don't know about you, Rich, but I try and cue into his breathing quite a bit.
Mhm.
And I find that he breathes hard when it makes sense. He breathes hard when he's excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I would guess too. I don't think he's hot at all.
Yeah, I think he's just like, I want to do something. He's
I think he's
agitated
excited.
or something.
Yeah, he's a little agitated. He's maybe a little over aroused, maybe a little anxious, a
Yeah.
little agitated. Yeah, I think that's
It'll
a really
often
good
happen,
descriptor.
like, we tend to have supper right here. We get out the TV trays. He, of course, you know,
You might have to change that behavior.
he tries to get food and he jumps up on the couch behind us and eventually he gives up and he lays down on the rug, you know, but then when we're all coming back together, you know, putting the dishes away and stuff, that's when,
Party time.
yeah.
So again, that's probably tough for him. It's probably hard for him to try to maintain his composure through dinner time, right?
Yeah,
And he probably is getting a little worked up. He's probably internally
yeah.
getting a little worked up. And that panting is probably just a sign that was tough for him. He is feeling a little agitated internally.
Mhm.
So what I would probably do in that situation is, how does he feel about his crate?
Well, so he doesn't love it.
Okay.
He doesn't go into it on its own. We did not aggressively crate train him.
Okay.
He is now sleeping upstairs with us.
Okay.
He goes in the crate, like we're not yet because no one's going back yet, but we're trying every once in a while to put him in there for an hour.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, yes, sometimes we'll put him in here when he gets rambunctious.
Right.
And
Yeah.
But we don't we've worked really hard not to get worked up and angry and
Yeah.
then put him in the crate.
Yeah.
When we put him in the crate, it's usually
You
we
need a
take
break. You
time
need to break. Yeah.
and then we put him in gently.
So the only thing I would do differently there is I would give him something really high value and long lasting that he can work on in there.
Okay.
Give him a bone.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask you. Is
Yeah.
that a good place to associate with a bone? or-
Absolutely.
as long as
Okay.
we're supervising him, like we wouldn't want to leave him with a bone, correct?
Yeah, and so I would even leave the door open. So
Yeah.
the reason I'm asking is because my favorite way to work on dogs counter surfing, dogs begging for food while you're eating, is to teach them a really reliable go to your place and stay there.
Yeah, well, that's what we were trying to do with the mat. 'Cause that was
Yeah.
like a great little tip we got from his man. He actually is pretty good. I bet if you tell him to go on the
He's
mat,
pretty
he
good
might.
at getting on the mat.
So
Yeah,
the
that's
trick
good.
then is, so if he is reliably going onto the mat, then and does it go to what's the cue for it?
Just go to your mat. Where's your
mat?
OB? On your mat.
Yes, nice work, sweetheart. And then
On your mat.
when
OB.
he
Can
does
you
go
lay
on
down?
there, reinforce it. Nice work, sweetheart, and we'll see if
On
he
your
does
mat.
offer anything.
Lay down, OB, on your mat.
Nice
There's a
work,
boy.
sweetheart. So good. So that is pretty reliable there. So I would start doing, and it's fine if this is reliable. You guys can just cue him to go to this mat.
The problem is once dinner's out, yeah,
He won't
all
stay.
bets are
Yeah,
off.
that's what I kind of figured.
Unless we have a
So-
topple or something for him.
So you
Yeah.
could try giving him that topple. Try giving him a bone, and while you guys are having dinner, he's having his delicious snack. There's no reason to get up from his bed because he's got a delicious snack there. But I would. So my next step. Does he have a release word, a word that means he can get up now?
You know, that's a good question. Like when we put the food out, no, I don't think he does.
Actually, I just say go. So I'll say, Obi sit, and he'll sit right there, and I'll put the plate down and I'll say, go. And he'll
Let's
just-
try that.
Yeah,
So
like
let's
what's in
do
there, I'll
some
say,
names.
okay, go. Yeah.
Go. And then I'll toss the treats so he knows he can get up now. So when I start working on the crate, all I do is I start moving that bed
Mhm.
a little bit into the crate. So if he's got a reliable go to bed behavior, and he feels pretty good about going to that crate as long as the door is open. So I'll move the bed into the crate, leave the door open. It's the exact same behavior. Obi. Go. Because the door is open and there's no pressure, and if he does go in there, he gets
Oh,
I
my
know, he gets some big
goodness.
feelings. Maybe. Nice work, and I'll start dropping some treats for him.
Find
Find
it,
him
buddy,
there.
find it. Yeah, we tried to do the find a thing to get him, and it worked, I think, a little bit to make him a little more comfortable with it.
Yeah, So, and there we go, sweetheart. And we're going, nice work, sweetheart. And then I'm not locking him in there. Door stays open.
Yes.
He gets a party for staying in there.
I don't think he's afraid of the crate.
No,
I just
uh-uh.
don't think he just goes
He
into
doesn't
It's
love
not. He doesn't love it. It's not a comfort place.
And we can get it there because it's convenient to have
Yes.
a dog who loves a crate,
Yeah,
right?
it is.
We can get there by just working on this a little bit more and by just taking it back a step. I would practice it quite a bit with the door open. Nice work. And releasing him before he releases himself, so giving him that nice go.
That's- I'm really glad to hear about the bones though, because we have these play dates with the dogs. She's got a year-old female, which is hilarious because he's trying to hump her like the whole time.
Nice work.
And we're like-
Oh, that's fun.
But she told me about the bones.
Yeah, I would definitely look into that. I've been bummed that I don't have a source for raw bones because
If I find it for sure, I will
Let me know.
let you know.
yeah,
Absolutely.
because I love giving dogs bones. Go. Some vets don't love it. So be careful
Yeah.
how you tell your vet about it.
Yeah.
Nice work, sweetheart. Good job. Yeah, he doesn't mind the crate. So I would just work on building his value for the crate a little bit more, keep the door open a few times, do a few sessions where he gets to leave
Yeah.
pretty quickly. And you guys can build your way up to a dog who loves the crate.
Mhm.
And then you can use the crate
Yeah.
for, when you guys are having meals, pop them in there with the bone. Nice work, sweetheart. And
Yeah,
that
because I feel
works-
like we're setting him up to fail, sometimes with.
It's
Yeah.
a mix. I mean, he can go upstairs and he can go to sleep, and
Yeah.
it's been working pretty well. And now he's not getting up at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
He's getting up with Rachel. And so,
Sure. I mean, I like the crate for a lot of reasons. I'll use it too if I've got guests coming over.
mhm.
Yeah,
I'll pop a dog in the crate just until the person comes in the room and
Yeah.
things settle down a little bit
exactly.
so that he isn't likely to make a mistake.
If we did that with people coming over, he would bark like.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right.
That's
So
what he's not used to.
it's a nice tool to have. It's also nice, if he ever has to do an overnight at the vet,
Mm,
they have to stay, in a crate at the vet's office. If you guys ever do any traveling, if we ever get
Yeah.
back to that point again.
Yeah, yeah.
If you guys take him to a friend's house or something,
Yeah.
it's nice to have a nice secure
Yeah.
place where they get really, really, really comfortable, and he's not, getting up on your friend's furniture. So it's a nice tool to have. I love having a dog who really, really, really feels good about their crate. It
Yeah.
makes your guys'
Yeah.
lives a lot easier. Very nice.
So one more thing, coming back to the biting thing, because it's so random, like Luca will just he'll be trying to walk across the room and he will bite his feet. And so what do you do then?
So stop.
You just stop.
Yeah,
Okay.
stop and just give it a second. So what I would also guess is that there are probably some indications, right? You guys can probably predict when he's going to do that, right? It's probably a certain time of day. If he's feeling a little bit more energetic, you can probably predict when he's going to do that. And so what I would actually do is, before he ever bites in the first place, reward him for doing the right thing, praise him for doing the right thing, pay attention to him for doing the right thing before he ever makes that mistake in the first place. Because he's such a smart guy, he might also enjoy doing a little bit of training. And so if it is a really high energy time of day and he's just got the sillies in him, do a little 10-minute training session with him where you guys are kind of running through his little repertoire of obedience behaviors. That is a really appropriate outlet for a dog. As smart as he is, and with his energy.
Yeah, because part of what I've watched the boys though struggle with is like he's biting them and it hurts.
Yeah.
And then to try to stop, he'll continue to bite them, while they're trying to stop.
Well, I
And
think
so,
that's when you leave the room.
Yeah,
and
you
close
got
the
it.
door.
Yeah.
Just- And if you recognize it, maybe you just,
yeah.
Don't waste
I just
it.
want to make sure
Right.
we say that out loud a
You
couple
got it.
times.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah. And it's harder to do in practice,
Yeah.
I get it. I have I have a 13-week-old puppy at home who I'm pretty sure is part gremlin. I get it. It hurts. And a lot of it does come down to trying to anticipate.
Yeah.
Because once they kind of get into that that spiral there, they're just getting more and more and more agitated. So trying to prevent it is your best bet. Anticipating this work, sweetheart. He's like, have you noticed how cute I am?
Yeah, he gets a lot of mileage out of that cuteness.
So yeah, you're right, trying to anticipate it and giving him something better to do, something that works better for earning your attention. So, oh, you've got 4 feet on the floor. Oh, look at you. Aren't you handsome? Aren't you a smart boy? Aren't you a good boy? And that, teaching him some funny little games like, I checked to see if he knows touch, and apparently he doesn't know touch, but touch is a really simple behavior that I like to train dogs, where they just target your fingers with their nose. They boop your fingers with their nose.
funny.
It's a simple little trick that most dogs can do just about anywhere. And so if I see him coming in hot, I might ask him to do that. So do you want to try doing that, Bubba? So you just present your hand. Yes. Present your hand close to his nose. Usually I aim for peripheral vision, and then as soon as he either goes toward it or boops my finger and mark it. Oh, that was close. Mark it and then give him a treat. So he's learning. It's not a bribe. It's not a lure. You do something, and then it earns you.
He's like,
Yes,
but I think
it earns you that treat, and that's my time too. So I would teach him some fun little games like that too. He knows sit, he knows down. Play little games with him. Do training when he is feeling energetic, and it gives him a better outlet for that energy rather than, well, I guess I'm going to try my luck at jumping and biting. Yes, I'll take that. Good. Okay, any questions about anything we covered tonight?
Yeah, that was helpful.
Actually, we try to work on it.
Yeah,
Practice,
yeah. I mean, yeah, with a big family, it can be hard.
Look, I think that you've done a really good job. The more time you spend with him, I think one of the biggest things is that I think the difference between the two boys is that he's starting to spend more time with the dog.
Yes,
My eldest is
doing
not
college
spending as much
from
time.
home. He keeps the door closed a lot. He comes out, and I
And
think
that's
part of
when
it is
we,
the dog
like-
is like,
Yeah,
Oh,
he's almost starved for attention.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can see that you guys have a really nice relationship. I can see that he really enjoys working with you. That's very apparent. I mean, he obviously adores all of you
good
guys.
boy,
But,
Obi.
but yeah, it is. He's trying to figure out how to get everybody's
Mhm.
attention. He's doing what works. Yes. All right, guys.
All right, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah, well, it was nice to see you guys. And let me know if you guys have any follow-up questions.
I will.
But otherwise, are you guys?
Is your schedule still super booked?
Right now I'm booking about a month out. So
Okay,
guys,
well, that's
guys,
not as bad as
yeah.
before, yeah.
So right now I'm booking early December. So if you guys want to do another session,
Yeah, we
I
might.
would say get it on the
Yep,
schedule.
yep. Good.
Are you guys thinking about more classes for him too?
I'm not sure.
You guys are so close.
I know we are so close, and what would you recommend next? Because what did we do with the elementary?
You did elementary. So the
Yeah.
next one is junior high, which I think we just changed it. We are taking 6-month-old puppies now in junior high. Junior high is tough. Junior high is
Yeah.
working on distractions, working really close to other really exuberant teenage dogs. So junior high is a really,
Is it in the same pod setup where everyone's
yep,
kind of
but we do a lot more work. We open up the fences and it's a lot more work.
interactive? Okay.
Yeah, with other dogs, so it gets a lot tougher. Find it. But yeah, I feel like that's a really
Oh, it is.
important class
Okay.
in teenage dogs
Okay.
development. So I would definitely look at that. And
Yeah,
I
we
think,
will.
I think he's eligible for that up until he's like 9 months old or something.
Oh,
like that.
okay.
So, or older.
Element. You said it was
Junior high. Junior
Okay.
high. Yep.
So what do you think, 50 pounds at 6 months, what do you think? What do you think he's gonna get?
At least 65.
At least?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. Is that about what you guys were expecting?
Yeah, that's what the breeder said. So
That's what the breeder said. I'm thinking the way
He might
he's,
get bigger, yeah. I mean, I don't know if I don't know too many. What kind of?
He's a Bernedoodle.
Yeah.
Bernedoodles do sometimes get bigger.
I was thinking 75, 80.
They do sometimes get a little bit, I was gonna say, I don't see many doodles get too much bigger than 65 unless they're a Bernedoodle. And then I have seen some Bernedoodles or 80, so maybe.
His dad's a standard poodle, and his
Oh,
mom's
okay.
a standard and a Bernedoodle mix.
So
a
he's
F150,
75%
yeah.
poodle?
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe 70, but yeah.
Oh,
I hope so, because the
Ooh,
girls
there's
are-
fireworks going off.
Oh, yeah. Okay, guys.
Thank you.
So yeah, it was good for you guys.
Have a great weekend.
Did I what, buddy?
Do you
He
think
says,
Fred?
I'll let you out.
How long do you think
finished speaking now. We were like, we couldn't believe of all the days.
Oh, I know, of course, of course. You know, I need to,
It's gonna be like right now.
I didn't schedule any sessions for Tuesday night, because I thought,